we going right now? Hi, this is Jim the Keys bartender. I didn't even know we were on.
Did you not hit the music?
No, we don't. We're not going live. We're going to record.
Okay.
We're going to record.
All
this
right.
is the new year, 2020. It's probably going to be
Happy New Year.
out sometime later this week. Probably Saturday, maybe this episode.
Yeah.
I got a couple more. Last week I had a problem accessing it because I had a problem. I'm here with Jenna Kelly.
Hello.
We're in Key Largo, and it's we've had another one of our cool spells come in.
Yeah.
Where it was 50s a night, now it's back in the 60s, which is beautiful.
It's pretty comfy right now. A little bit chilly.
Last week we took a little hiatus because I had a life-changing event. And I'm not going to...
show.
What?
We did a live show.
We did a live show. We did a little live show.
Yep.
But we were we're not changing the format, just things. And it'll come out in the show eventually when we want to talk about it. We don't want to make anything about it. It's not a medical thing. I'm not getting a divorce. I haven't changed my job. I'm still a bartender. But there's other things, and we'll talk about it sometime in the future, I guess.
Yeah.
But maybe not at this time since it's a new year. And it's been, I want to ask you, how was your new year?
It was very busy.
It was very busy?
Yeah.
Well, New Year's Eve. Oh, we did a live show. Was it earlier in the day?
Yes.
It was at 2:30.
And I was still at work.
And your brother was here, Matthew.
My brother Matt was here. Yep. So, and it was month end to year end for me, so I was really, really busy at work. And then came home to an absolute house full. But, I had a lot of family in town. So
we, on my part, we had, my daughter had a sleepover with her friend. She's 13 now, so she could do sleepovers and doesn't get upset and doesn't have to, get homesick or anything like that. So Abby and I went to a very nice restaurant in Isle Morada, the Keys. It is like going out to a nice restaurant in the Keys is like going out in New York City.
Chaos.
You're going to, no, money-wise.
Yes, money-wise.
You're going to spend, for a regular meal at a nice place, it's going to be $200. And
easy.
If you have it's a bottle of wine and two like that, it's $300-400. Yeah. So, and I'm a bartender, not
not a server at a high-end restaurant, right? Not that the catch isn't high-end.
No, it's not high-end. It's a family restaurant.
It's
family restaurant. Family restaurant.
I think it's, reasonable.
Yeah, we're reasonable for down here, but even up, I guess, being a reasonable place, we'd be considered moderately expensive up on the mainland. We did have, so we went out to a beautiful restaurant, though. They did a wonderful job, and since we didn't stay out to her very late because we had our poor little dog at home.
Yeah.
Because whenever it's fireworks, we just can't seem to leave it. Yeah. And during this Christmas break, this is not funny. There are a lot of bartenders you don't hear this from. But my daughter had taken a class pet to take care of.
Oh.
It's a guinea pig.
Oh, goodness.
Named Rabbit, because they knew they were going to get a pet this year, but they were supposed to get a rabbit. So they got a guinea pig instead.
They named him Rabbit.
And they named him Rabbit.
That's awesome.
Her Rabbit.
It reminds me of Alyssa's story
Abby,
about her guinea pig.
Yeah, and Abby's been. Sky was good. We take care of it. Bring it out, change the thing. And Abby at night would take the guinea pig out and sit and watch television. And she got really attached to this. To the guinea pig. It was beautiful. It was like a calico cover. Black, white, and brown. And it would make these little sounds. And for some reason, kind of, except same color as Hoagie, but with more black. Yeah. And she got really attached, and she was crying a little today about that.
She was upset.
Yeah, that's it.
Go back to school.
I get. Well, my dog stares at me all the time. My dog just stares at me. They said that's a evolutionary trait dogs do. They get the big eyes and all that stuff. Or the way people bred them, actually. But then they just stare at you and just try to. You're not supposed to stare dogs down, right?
Okay.
Because it's intimidating to them. But mine just stares at me the whole time. Just stares at me and just.
He's trying to intimidate you.
No, she is just looking at me, and Abby says it's like she's pining. Like she loves me. Just want to take care of with anybody else to go away. Love. Yeah, and she goes. Yeah, at night she'll run into my daughter's room at the end when she goes to bed. She calls the dog. The dog comes in. She's 8 pounds. Comes in, hops into bed with her, and then around 2:30 in the morning, she comes into my room and lays next to me when she wakes up. Yes, that's the way it is.
You know, I have not to get sidetracked, but I just squirreled for a second. I have a really good pointer for dealing with 2020 when it comes to documents, legal documents, anything like that.
Oh, is this about writing out the whole year?
No, yes, of course, but it should be a 2-digit month, a 2-digit day, and a 4-digit year.
Yeah, because you can alter with that 20. You can go back.
For example, let's say you signed a lease on a house, and you went to rent that house, and you just dated it, 1/7/20.
Yeah.
Somebody could go back and change that to 11/17 of 2017, and then accuse you of breaking a lease, and charge you a bunch of money for it,
or post putting it out the 2022. And things like that, signing anything.
Exactly.
But I would always use that. That would be such an excellent defense to say, oh, well, that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
When I was married, my ex-wife and I, we were outside of Baltimore, and I have a story about this area we live. We're in Towson, Maryland, and we were moving into this really nice, exclusive condominium, and we were just signing a letter of intent to see if we qualify. And what happened, it said on the original one, for some reason, we didn't have a signature. They tried to enforce it. They tried to enforce it on a credit check, lease intent.
Oh, even though it didn't have a signature on it.
Well, it did have had her signature, but it said on the bottom of the original copy, and we had the same copy. But in the move from Philadelphia, it was right after 9/11, and she had some medical problems, the ex-wife, and we couldn't move in, and they tried to enforce it and tried to collect a year's worth of fees from us, even though it was rented and all that stuff, and it was really a lot of bullshit and stuff like that. But that was without this, whenever anybody. But, mainly a lot of the conniving goes on, actually happens on both sides. Because you have people that are squatters. And especially down here, you have people do that. I think they're a little stricter there down here than they are in places like Miami.
I would think so. Our court system
because
is
we're smaller,
but this is the year to be careful for it because you just write 20, and people they got you.
Well, yeah, I'm a notary.
Yes,
and someone posted that, and I just shared it on this. I have another site called Florida Keys Notary.
Yes,
and on Friday morning. I decided, you know what? If I could do this, since I have the notary thing, I can, kickstart this. I can get a couple every month. Get like an extra $400 or $500. I could pay for our trip to Poland each year. And what I did is this is the nice thing about this social media right now with Facebook and stuff like that. And I know a lot of you younger people, which I don't know what the break. I think I have an even break from 10 years to 20 years younger to 20 years older than me. Mm-hmm. But if you're older and you were starting a small business, it's very inexpensive to advertise on Facebook. You don't have to pay anything, actually. But if you want to use their marketing thing, it's scaled. So you can spend as little as like $1 a day and go up to like $50 a day. Right. Depending, you could scale it and see how responsive and how you get your ROI, your return on investment from it. So what I did is I had people say, why do you have so many friends on Facebook? I said, well, I always thought I wanted to start a company. So they call you what do they call it, a friend? do they call it? A friend catcher or friend gatherer or something like that. And I go,
Hoarder.
it's not, friend hoarder or something like that. You're just like, and I said, well, yeah, I did do it, but it was also a way to, I share when people have their things, I like it and I share their things and I try to, hope they do the same for me. So, scratch.
It is really funny that you are a friend hoarder because, what's hilarious is that I have my other house is the renter just moved out.
Yeah.
So I re-advertised it for rent and I get so many people that, ask me on Facebook, is it still available? When can I see the house? Blah, blah, blah. And I always look at them to see if I know who they are. And it was hilarious. The other day I got like 4 messages back to back to back and they were all mutual friends with Jim Horan.
Yeah.
Mutual friends.
I got like 5,000 friends.
I know. I was like, you whore.
Well, I am.
You
well, I mean,
whore.
first of all, you think about it for the show. The show, it makes sense.
It totally does.
And also, whenever I had a business, I mean, it's like, think of the local paper. How's the local paper? They pick one of them. The Coconut Telegraph.
Yeah, Coconut Telegraph.
I mean, the Coconut Telegraph is in Key Largo and stuff like that, and maybe 1,000 people a month read it, maybe. Yeah. Or read it. You print. How many do they print? They print so many, and how many people read the thing? And I go, well, if I had the opportunity, I mean, like you used to do, you had to print flyers and you put them in everyone's mailbox and stuff like that. And the people you're trying to reach, like in all the companies I started, were all things I wanted to do online. You take your payment online, you advertise online, you make your appointments online and stuff like that. Why not? Yeah. Just roll it all into one. So when on Friday, I had this Florida Keys notary and I had set up the website a year before. I'm sitting there, I bought the thing. What I do, and this is, and it rolls into the story I have to tell with the thing. I guess you could say I'm a non-internet millionaire, a non-millionaire. But I have ideas that don't really come to fruition for the delivery system first. I tried to do delivery, and then I tried to do the airport runs, and then the baby furniture rental. And then the notary thing, the notary was probably right after delivery, and that's been going on for all through all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, for signatures and stuff like that, if it's someone I know, I said, it doesn't cost anything. But if I have to go somewhere for someone and it's like after hours, I got to search someone out. I had to do like find an heir. I had to find an heir for someone to have a dispersal of inheritance.
Oh, wow.
Dispersal of the estate or the funds for an estate. And I had to go and find this guy who had a questionable domicile, meaning he was kind of homeless.
You're right, yeah.
So, but then I also do weddings. I officiate weddings, and I was in catering for years. So I figure I'd say, well, I set up the website, and I was always intending to do it. I kept out the data, kept on tweaking it and stuff like that. So, and there I had a Facebook page, and the Facebook page was sitting for over a year. But I never went and asked my friends to like it or anything yet, because I wasn't ready to do it. And then I said, well, the cribs thing's done. I don't rent babibies anymore.
No babies.
I don't rent babies. I don't deliver groceries because that every asshole in the world's doing. I apologize if you don't, but every asshole company in the world has someone to deliver, and why compete with something where the people only get like $10 an hour? And the driving, I talk about the anxiety, which I no longer have. The airport thing, holy shit.
Jeez.
Oh my God. I would have killed myself eventually. I would have eventually driven. I would have been by myself. Abby would have kicked me out of the house and shit like that. It was horrible. But the notary thing was pretty cool because, every so often someone says, oh yeah, come on, we got to sign it. Let me see I got to see your ID if I don't know you and stuff like that. If I don't know you through people, even though we're friends on Facebook, doesn't mean you are the person you say you are.
Right.
So I did it on Friday, and don't you know, 2 hours after I did it, I get a call from a British couple. They were at the Baptist church here, and they wanted to have the ceremony. They wanted to see if a minister would do it, and they said, no, they will only do it for one of their parishioners.
Members or parishioners, yeah.
Yeah, and members. And so the person just saw my Keys notary thing. Oh, this guy does it. I just think I saw this on the thing. And they called me up. And John and Amanda, they're from London, and they came with their daughter. And so Sky and I set it up for Sunday, this past Sunday, and we went to one of the local condominiums, and it was on the Oceanside. We went to a little gazebo that was out on the end of the docks, and we had a little ceremony, had music out there. They like Barry Manilow. So they were playing Barry Manilow. I'm standing there. Sky's taking pictures because they wanted to see if I get a photographer. And I thought, well, geez, if I got the photographers I know or something, any photographer, they would charge twice as much as what I would charge.
Right.
For my thing. I said, hell, well, how serious a photographer are you? Oh, I just need someone to take a couple pictures. I said, I'll just bring my daughter. I won't charge anything. And now I'll pay my daughter. And he said, it'll serve two things because they get to, work with Sky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I go, hey, Sky, doing the right thing. I mean, every sort of stuff, you got to get a real photographer and stuff like that.
Still.
Yeah. And, so yeah, and did that. And then, I think an hour before I opened the site, someone called me. He had a real estate thing he needed signed, so I went down and did that when I was on. Oh, that had to be a couple days before because that was on. It was on New Year's Eve. I think I was dropping Sky off at a New Year's Eve party. Yeah, and I just said
it's funny though when people find out that you're a notary, then all of a sudden they're like 10 o'clock. Tommy, a frequent guest on our podcast has showed up to my work with paperwork in a mad rush, and he was like, notarize this for me. I'm like, okay. Stamp sign.
Yeah.
Personally known to me, circle.
Yeah, and what I also did, I said there's a lot of things down here, like there's legal offices, there's law firms up on the mainland, and if they have to get like a settlement signed or anything, or papers filed or papers picked up and sent or whatever.
Yep.
So what I'm doing is advertising. Set it up as a legal courier service. And I say, well, what makes you more qualified? I said, well, to be a notary, you can't be a felon.
Right.
So you got that going for you. and then you have to be somewhat discreet about doing things. I almost, so I thought, that would be a great thing. Why would you send, a paralegal or something like that? I mean, they have to pay them some ridiculous amount of money and time where they could be doing something else to send down here. And I say, well, I'm down here already, so that's what I'm going to do. Well,
if it was a paralegal, it'd be like $185 an hour plus, 35 cents a mile that they drive, and then you get charged for each piece of paper. I mean, like
yeah. Well, down here, I'll just I'll go and do it. I'll deliver it. I'll print it out. You want me to do this and take it? There was one thing I had to get a whole bunch of. There were a settlement for something at one of these restaurants. And I won't go into any further detail, but they were. It was for the employees, and I had to go to each employee's house, and they set up the appointment, and I went and got it signed. And one person didn't know to sign. They go, so I'm sitting there one time, and I go, listen. I call the people up. I said, this guy doesn't want to sign. He goes, well, we're not going to. And they said, what? Well, I'm just going to send you to haul the paper back. And he goes, well, we won't pay you for anything. So right now, I only waited. There's 3 more people to go, right? If you're not going to pay me just because someone didn't sign,
right?
So my job is not to get someone to sign.
No, your job is just to verify that that's who signs the form.
Yeah. That's just the person they are, and you're signing. I'm taking it. I said and it's actually I'm not allowed to.
Right. You can't convince somebody.
I can't give any advice.
No.
I'm not an attorney, or I'm not their attorney. Nope. If I was their friend, I couldn't certify. I couldn't notarize that they were that, because I'd have an interest.
Right.
So that was that. But that was one, and I did a couple other things, but I didn't really advertise that. That was something I put in with like delivery services. So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to focus on that, and I think there's a good possibility if I can get 20 weddings a year and maybe 15 or 20 legal things, that pays for my whole family's trip.
Yeah. And
then that's just the way I view it. Now, if it gets any busier than that, I'll just bring some more people on because I have the website. And people say, why do you go? So what I do is I look for like the name of the show here. Right.
Right.
I didn't just come up with the name of the show. I went to GoDaddy, and I wanted to make sure that the domain was available. Because I didn't want to work the other end, because I'm saying, God forbid it got famous, I'd have to pay some asshole
to buy
like
domain
me.
name or domain.
I have Keys Baby Rentals. I thought I would be able to sell that, and I'm just going to let that go by the wayside. Because first of all, there's all these, like Lyft type companies, these third-party apps that come in, and now there's something for everyone. There's Task. That's for, like, if you can't hang a picture, you're going to call up these people. It's just anything, almost anything.
Yeah.
There's dog walkers. I think there's a dog. Task probably has dog walkers on it, stuff like that. But there's whole massage. Yeah, there's a massage app that gets you a masseuse.
That like comes to your house.
Yes.
That's so creepy.
Or you go, yeah. Oh well, supposed to be certified, just like you know how they abuse. You know how they abuse it. I can imagine someone says, "Well, you're right out of prison. You can't be a masseuse." Or you can't be a masseuse on this company and say, "Oh, use my phone," and you look kind of like me. There you go.
Yeah.
That's it. Hey, let's take a little break right now. We're going to take a break, so like we do because we're recording.
If you want to get your information about the Florida Keys straight from the locals who live here and the ones who love it here, we've got you covered. Visit 43keys.com as your source for everything Florida Keys. Sign up for our newsletter and you'll always be up to date on all the Keysy stuff that's going on down here. Go to 43keys.com. That's the number 4, the number 3, keys.com, and sign up today.
And we're back.
We
were, it must have been like...
that was like 20 minutes.
20 hours. It's the next day. No, it was less than a minute, I think. You need to go for a break. Remember a couple months ago I did my public speaking for Raise. I have another one coming up for the
school.
For the school, talking to seniors. Well, I had a dream last night. And whenever I have a dream like that, it's reliving a past sometimes recently, and it'll tie into the things we were talking about before the show. But we won't necessarily talk about that. Now, I was in the dream. I'm working in an office, and it's a sales office, and it's real hacky, meaning not like a Glenn Ross kind of hacky thing, but there were a bunch of salespeople running around with their heads up their ass and stuff like that. Not that all salespeople. I'm a salesperson at heart, so don't take any salespeople. Don't take it personally. But the dream was I was giving a motivational speech about something that actually happened to me, and in the dream, this is the amazing part. I relived the thing that actually happened the way it did happen.
Weird.
Yeah, I know. I'm retelling it. I'm giving the speech to the sales force. How not to give up, fortitude, and sticking to it. So I figure, wow. It seems, you know how sometimes when you're in a dream and you do something, and it seems like you tell a joke or something funny happens, and it's really not that funny, or the thing that's bad happened wasn't that bad, and it wasn't as significant. But the thing in the dream was exactly within the dream where the situation I was in, completely false. But the thing that happened, completely real.
So was it like a deja vu?
No. I was giving the speech and telling the story. And I'm going to tell you a story. Okay. I was married for less than a year. And I was ready to move on. I told you I was at one point. I was 37 when I got married, and I knew very little. I was in catering at the time. I knew very little about software. Okay. When I went into college, I took 2 programming courses, and I failed or did it incomplete on both. And so my brother-in-law was the manager of this company. They had about 100 and something employees outside of Baltimore in Towson, Maryland, and they knew I was a people person. I don't know why. And they knew I was, I guess they thought I was presentable, well-spoken, and things like that. And I guess they knew I was smart. But they really didn't understand the depth of my ignorance when it came to computers and software. It was really bad. I barely knew word processing. I kind of understood how emails worked. Right?
Okay.
That was pretty much it. I mean, so I went to a company that made big enterprise solutions for nonprofits. They had it was, when I say enterprise solution, it would be like for a huge nonprofit that would be a couple $1 million a year that they would have, and they'd have to manage the members, the finances, their events, their publications. They had all these modules that I would attach to it. It was a very robust system, very intricate, and was really, I was fucking crazy, right? So here I am. I spent the first 2 months thoroughly getting myself into it. 2 months learning a product, not knowing how to make it, Jen, just getting to know what it is and being able to demo it. Took 2 months. 2 months. Wow. And then I did it for a couple months. I mean, it was like I was a fucking caveman. And there were a nice bunch of people working. There was a couple girls, a couple guys. And there was another guy my age. And they had a sales manager who was the owner's buddy who was in his mid to late 20s. And they were like wealthy kids whose father let him buy a company and let his friend become the same. And the salesman, I think he was an English major, but he had slightly kind of a dyslexia, and he wasn't much of a salesman. He was well-spoken, but he wasn't much of a salesman. Wasn't much of a people person, but they put him in charge, and he'd dissect our letters to the people that we were sending him out and stuff like that. That was his main thing he could do. He was good at doing that. He was like a proofreader, but he wasn't much a salesman. But I guess he realized I don't mean to say he was all right. The guy was all right, but he wasn't one to go and close a deal. So one day I'm doing this stuff. We moved out. My ex-wife and I moved. We're in Towson and stuff like that. And I've been there for like 4 or 5 months. And I'm like, I'm not getting any bites. But then again, this big product solution, this company's consolidating. They're buying other companies and stuff like that. And it's right at the end of the tech boom. You got to remember, like 2001, 2001. Mm-hmm. And nothing's really happening. There's all these deals going in. And when these software packages sell, they go for anywhere from like $200,000 to $1 million. Now, I know you have boats and stuff like that. Remember, the software is really nothing. It's on the things are on $10 worth of storage you're buying. Mm-hmm. So you're buying the programming. Right. So it's all profit. So it's like the $600,000. That's $600,000. It's not like a boat, a $600,000 boat where you have to, it's $500,000 this and that. Right. No, this is, and one of the salesmen says, well, why? He's trying to sell it. It was someone, they were balking at the $240,000 price. He goes, why don't we just give it to him for $60,000? Doesn't cost, you know what I mean? And they go, yeah, but then we wouldn't be able to sell it to anybody else for that. And they were trying to reason with the guy and tell him, because he says, I think they're balking at the price. They'll buy it at $60,000. He says, you can't go down from $240,000. Imagine what a house property you go and do. So that was a perceived value thing. I understood. I was able to grasp the concept. Now, he knew software, but he did not understand the sales. Mm-hmm. And because there was support going in there and stuff like that, where the company would have to do ongoing support. So we're doing this, and I was like, oh, my God, we are such tough times. No one's moving anything. We're not getting any bites or anything like that. We have a couple big ones. And then all of a sudden, my manager takes me out for a walk, and it looked like one of those mafia things where you take someone, let's go out for a ride. Ugh. Yeah. And it fucking, one guy sitting in the back seat, and you're dead. So we go out for a cup of coffee. We walk downstairs. We're in the center of Towson. He starts talking to me, and he says, look, he seems to like me. And he goes, he's kind of worried. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, he's going to cut me loose. And I just got married and all this stuff. And he says, listen, we're going to move you to this other product. Now, the product that we're moving me it was a smaller one, but it sold like crazy. And I knew in my head, I said, well, shit, I got to hold it. I understand this other product. I understood the other one already because it was so much smaller. And I'm just, shit, I can sell, this is like selling popcorn. So it was like from a tenth, but it could get, some of it could get kind of pricey, but I think the most expensive would be like 1/5 the cost.
Right.
So, but the commission structure was like 25-30% and stuff like that. It was crazy. So here I am. I'm doing that. I'm thinking, man, I went from that one trip. I'm thinking I was going to get fired. They moved me to one. I said, oh. So for the next couple of months, I actually sold my first couple software things, right? But I'm just trucking along, staying treading water, right? And then one day, I'm just doing that. I said, man, I'm just playing along. I'm not getting any groundwork. I'm not getting anybody. There's nobody. And we're all doing this cold calling thing. You know, the bullshit when they call people up, try to get through the gatekeeper. And you say, hey, listen, can I talk to your technical, the CTO or whoever your systems manager is, or things like that. So we're always, barely getting in there. And I'm looking, and the software we have is kind of it's perfect for like continuing education, event management, and shit like that. So medical schools, law schools, anybody has big events, but medical schools, because doctors have to go back in and get credit each year so they can stay up on the newest techniques.
Continuing education.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're looking through it. We're prospecting and stuff like that, and I'm looking through the database. We got a couple thousand prospects. We're in Towson. 4 miles down the road is Johns Hopkins University, one of the most prestigious medical schools in the United States.
Yep.
I look at our database. They are not there. I call up. I'm going to call up. I'm sitting there. It's right after lunch. And I call up and say, hey, listen, my name's Jim. I'm at Go Members, where we do event planning software and stuff like that. And I'd like to talk to your CTO, your chief technical officer there. And they go, oh, yeah. And they put me right through. And they say, are you with, and it was a woman. And I forgot her name. I should remember her name. She was really nice. And obviously because she was talking to me, she was really nice. Obviously and she goes, oh, well, you just called at the right time. I'm thinking, fuck, is you yanking me? She was so nice. I thought she was yanking my chain. Are you kidding me? We're looking exactly for that. Like someone I would do to someone, oh my God, a prescription to Birds Fancier magazine? I was just talking to my wife about that. I wanted one. No. Well, fuck. She said, we're looking for that. Do you have source code? Do you have it in SQL? And I said, yes, we have a SQL product. It was a programming language. And I go, yes, and you can buy the source code. Now, at that point, I realized it would be a nice one. I realized it would seal my thing with the company for the year because it was Johns Hopkins.
Right.
But I didn't realize how big it was going to be. Right? I thought, wow, I'm going to be able to go on vacation, I'm going to get a new car, blah, 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 and all that stuff. Well, it turned out to be much bigger. And so we set it up, and normally the sales process goes like a month or 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, the next week I had a demo, and I got one of our tech guys to come with us. And this was the days of the dial-up.
Yeah.
And at Johns Hopkins, they had a DSL. And that was his, what does that stand for? Digital Service Line, right? Or something like that. So we go there, and my manager wants to come with me. I'm like, okay, I guess he can, because he at least he knows the money end of it. I think he knows the money end of it. So I'm there, and there's the dean of the medical school, which I didn't really sweat. I didn't sweat it out because I already had. I'm doing a demo for Johns Hopkins University. It was a big thing. They were making a big deal at the company. The president of the company called me from Chicago and all that stuff. So, oh, yeah, great, And I go there, and I'm making a demonstration for him. I put all the dummy information into it, but I also put it in my laptop, and I put it on our hosted one at our main office. Well, they couldn't get in. The tech guy couldn't get in. So I just said, and they were like, and the manager's looking at the tech guy, and he's like, oh, Jesus. And I said, hey, don't worry. I put sample stuff right in the computer. And he looks at me like, I didn't tell you to do that. And he goes, no, I just thought I was practicing with it. And he goes, great. So I go up there and I start doing a demonstration. And I do that. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, this is exactly what we want. We want this. Can we do this online? Yeah. This is before online registration was really big and all that stuff. So they do this, do this, do this. This is when one of my most spectacular, could have been a spectacular fuck up. I'm talking to the dean of medical school and stuff like that. He goes, oh, thank you for coming down here, blah, blah, blah. You're right up the road. That's perfect, blah, blah, blah. We like this. And I said to him, right when we're ready to sign the thing, I said, and you should get your law school to get it. He goes, we don't have a law school. And my manager's just his face went red. And I said, are you meaning to tell me that a bunch of doctors don't need lawyers? How about malpractice? And they all bust out laughing. They signed a deal in 3 days. Oh. We got the check. Yeah.
Scary.
Well, yeah, but I didn't go, you know, oh, well, come on. I didn't know that. I really didn't know. I figure, you know, when you pick enough school, you'd like Harvard.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I thought John Hopkins was like Harvard.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I thought it was like Harvard. And he said, no, we're primarily just medical. And I go, oh, okay. Well, my bad. I was a history major, so
I'm selling you some software.
Yeah, and that was my but at the end of the speech, I said, "See, listen, it doesn't really matter what you know or anything like that. You just it's. I wanted to say it's when what did he say? There's no such thing as luck. Luck is just when opportunity meets skill or something like that. You ever hear that? Luck is when it's like opportunity, something I was thinking about today. I didn't want to Google it. I wanted to run it by you.
Oh, gosh.
I figure you might know this. Yeah. Luck is when opportunity meets ability or something like that.
I can't remember what it is. I think luck is when opportunity meets ability, right? Is it not ability?
I don't know. I thought it's something like it's just one of those things. And that has always
No, isn't it when opportunity meets circumstance? I think is what it is. Let me look. Now I'm going to look it up.
Now you're going to look it up. I like to just bang this out as we go. But the thing is, whenever like I really feel lost and loserish,
when opportunity meets preparation.
Preparation. Okay, yes. There you go. When opportunity meets preparation. Yeah. And I think being prepared is also being well-versed in what you do and things like that. Yeah. And that's what happened. I was just thinking, you think about it, you dream about it, then it happens, and then the opportunity happens, and you're ready to do it. And a lot of salespeople get shit for that. I remember selling cars, and I had a guy, we call them pipe smokers. It's not what you think from Philadelphia when we call them pipe smokers. We used to call gay people pipe smokers and stuff like that. But no, it was actually pipe smokers because we were near Princeton University, north of Philadelphia in New Jersey. And this guy came in, and he looked like a professor. He was wearing one of those tweed jackets and stuff like that. And he wanted the Chevy Nova, which was actually a Toyota Corolla, because that's when Toyota and Chevy were doing these things. And they had this $600 trade-in allowance they were giving people. No, see, they were giving a $600 rebate and a $600 trade-in if you were taking a foreign car and trading it in. And this guy came in, and I remember exactly. The price on a Chevy Nova was it was $10,400, give or take a couple $100, with air conditioning, automatic transmission, AM, FM radio, and all that stuff. Nice car at that time. And this weird thing this guy wanted, the car was priced with the air conditioning in it. The guy wanted one without. He wanted a car without air conditioning.
He just wanted, just bare bones.
No, well, if something of a Freon and something like that, he had a problem with it. It wasn't the money, because the funny thing about it is he knew about the $600 rebate, the $600 trade-in one, Jenna, but I looked in the card catalog, and this car had no air conditioning. It didn't have a button. It didn't have the unit, the air conditioning unit in the car. So I said to him, I looked at the sticker, and it was priced with air conditioning on it. And I said to the guy, hey, listen, this car's priced $600 too high. There's no air conditioning. This should be $9,800. He goes, don't try to pull that stuff. I mean, this guy's a professor. Don't try to pull this on me. I go, no, the price is lower.
Right.
But the sticker's wrong. It's not higher. I'm not saying it's higher, it's lower. Well, he's ready to hear a lie out of my mouth.
And you were telling him the truth.
Truth. And then it goes like this. And I went to him 3 times about it. And I'm like, the guy didn't look like he drank. He looked like a pipe smoker, wearing a tweed jacket, smart. He did it. He had a check and all that stuff. And I go, okay, we can go and do it. And I said, listen, I'm sorry. I was just trying to do it. And the guy says, I understand what you got to do as a salesperson. And I said, okay. So we went, and I didn't go through finance. I kind of pissed him, but the guy had a check, so it didn't matter. Yeah. I was towards the end of the month, and they call me up. The sales manager goes, hey, look at Haran. He sold a Chevy Nova for $600 over list to a guy that was paying cash. And I go, and he went up there, and I said, listen, I tried to explain to him 3 times that he was paying $600 too much. And he wouldn't take it. This guy would not. He was one of these people who will not take no for an answer. He was like, I'm going to buy $600. I'm going to buy this car. I'm going to buy $600 over list.
Okay.
Yeah. And it happened every so often. As someone who was buying a Corvette, and he was trading in an IROC, and I said, well, he says, I'm happy if I get $1,500. I said, $1,500, and the used car manager said, oh, you're fine. You give him $1,500. And he looked at it, and he goes, oh, listen. And he came in later, and he says, oh, I allowed $5,000 on a trade. And I said, he says, I didn't want you to give it all away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going on vacation then. It turned out to be one of my cars that put me over a bonus.
Yeah.
That much it was my senior year of college. I went away. I quit right after that because a month before I went back to school, and spent the whole month at CL because he gave me $5,000 commission check. So I left. So
it's funny. I have a brand new, well, not new to sales, but a new salesperson at my store, and I feel like even though he's got like 30 years of history in the car business, I feel like he's getting a little hazed by my other salespeople. Keep in mind, he's 60 years old, and he moved down here so that he could like spend a bunch of time with his best friend and go fishing and do whatever. And he got his captain's license, and they were just going to go play around and horse around, and that was kind of the plan. And now he's bored because his friend died. He literally has only lived down here for a few months. So he came in and he was like, I just want to be a salesperson. He didn't have
anybody to hang out with.
No. And now he's bored. And it's sad to me because all of my other salespeople who have been doing this for quite some time, including my newest salesperson who really doesn't have that much experience, but we didn't haze him when he came in. We just rode his ass a little bit. We only at first let him sell scooters and motorcycles and golf carts. We didn't let him take boat leads. If somebody came in and they wanted to buy an outboard, we were like, no, not you. Give it to somebody else. How long has he been there? Now he's been there for maybe 9 months. Mm-hmm. The other new guy. Yeah. So I find that this newest guy is hazing him, or the newest guy of my regular staff is hazing the brand new guy the most. And he's like, well, you can't take those ups. You can't. I'm like, this guy does have a captain's license. He knows what the spinny part in the back of the boat is called. Okay, he knows what the pointy part in the front of the boat is called. Like, he's more than capable of taking a boat lead.
He's probably more knowledgeable than most of the salesmen there.
This is Tyler Kelly.
Tyler, Captain
Tyler Kelly.
But, it was like, oh, come on. Give the guy a break. The hardest thing for him to learn is going to be the scooters and the motorcycles and the golf carts because this guy's a boat captain.
Same here.
He doesn't know.
How is he doing?
He's really struggling. And
he's old school though.
He's old school and he likes paper, right? Because if you've been in the car business for 30 years, that's back when everything was handwritten, and you did all your own math at your desk.
Yeah.
And you went into your manager's office, and your manager initialed it and said, "Okay."
I'm 56 years old. This guy
is 60, so he's used to the old school Foursquare, right?
It was one of the young guys.
The old school Foursquare, which is here's your top line price.
Yeah. Right? And this is how much we're holding.
How much is your down payment going to be? How much are we going to give you for your trade if you have one? And what's your monthly payment going to be? Those are your 4 options. So you write it up in an old school Foursquare, and you be like, okay, so the price of the unit's $10,000. You plan on putting $1,000 down. We're going to give you $2,000 for your trade.
What did they do there?
And your new monthly payment's going to be $180 a month.
Yeah.
If this is all okay with you, if we can get it done like this, is this a deal? Yes, it's a deal. You have them sign it, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Now, you take it to your boss in the old school way. You take it to your boss. Your boss says, yes, if this all works out, I'll do that deal.
Yeah.
So this poor guy is being just thrown, technology is just being shoved down his throat with our customer relations management software and everything else. Oh, you can't get a lead unless you know how to price it and you know how to follow it, and you got to check the website and see what we advertised it for.
Is it intuitive stuff?
It's a lot of it is
repetition.
It's our process, our sales process is really repetition.
Yeah.
But
if you sat there with computer knowledge, you could probably get it within a couple weeks.
Right.
But you're taking an old school guy that only dealt with cars, and now you're bringing him into boat and motorcycle, ATV, and scooters and all this shit. His brain's fried.
So I set him up for training, and I went on to YMU, which is like Yamaha Motor University. I signed him up. I got him access so he could watch the videos and learn about scooters and all the other stuff. Get everything done, and he's loving that. And he was warned. He was warned when he first got there. They were like, yeah, just be careful with her. She's not very patient. And if you spell something wrong, she's going to yell at you and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah.
You're not like that with him.
I am not like that with him because I don't expect that out of him. Now, my sales manager, who's been in this industry for 24 years, I expect that out of him. I expect that out of the other guys that have been there for 10 years. But I don't expect it out of this brand new guy. And they should be helping him, and they're not. No. And I feel like they're just hazing him. You know what I noticed the other day? Today when I left for my lunch break, he has now been parking his vehicle on completely the opposite side of the building, hiding behind the mangroves. And I'm like, is that because you guys never really took him aside, showed him around, and showed him even where to park? Yeah. So I was like, why would you do that? Why aren't they being nicer to this guy? Encourage him.
That happens in so many. That happens in so many different. And I don't know why that happens.
I don't know, but it's
like the new kid.
So, yeah, but he's not a new kid. He's 16.
No, I know. No, I mean just like anyone.
And I think
it's the hazing. The hazing thing happens in everything, right?
In a different term,
on a boat.
In my shop right now, in my dive, snorkel, jet ski rental, boat rental bullshit job that I'm doing, we got a brand new guy in that's been a dive instructor and master diver for X amount of years, but he's in a brand new shop. And instead of hazing, I was like, hey, listen, I'm organizing everything back here. You're the one that's inspecting all of our tanks and doing all the upgrades. I was like, come outside. I'm remodeling, reorganizing everything. You tell me what you want to do. So I was like, you tell me what we need to throw away, I'll throw it away. I don't care what the boss and owner say.
That's being helpful.
Yeah, rather than hazing somebody, it's
So,
and you know what? They'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
He came up to me today and he goes, they warned me about you that you were really tough on everybody. He goes, but you're the only one that's helped. And I said, yeah. I said, I'll always help you, but when you get to the point where you should be on your own, I'll let you know.
But you also talked to the manager, and manager said, yes, have him write everything up, and I'm fine with that.
So I just gave him all that he would need, and I was like, take every lead that walks in that door. And if you need help, ask me.
That's the way to be. You're a good karma there.
So
okay, well, look, this is the end of the show. We're going to do another one. I didn't want, since you jumped in, I didn't want to do it so we can have a whole new show.
Yeah, I don't care.
We got to do 2.
Let's do it.
It's been such a while. Now we're in the back and roll. And I've been doing it. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you. Welcome 2020.
Yep. Okay, we're going to do another 2020 show.
2020.